Joining me now, Heritage Foundation President Kevin Roberts. Kevin, good morning.
Good morning, Cheryl. Merry Christmas to you. It's great to be with you.
Merry Christmas. Let's keep it rolling to the new year. You know, maybe not a Merry Christmas if you're the Secretary of State in Maine. She's getting a lot of pushback for this decision. She was on last night defending it. However, Trump's lawyers are saying the former president was never convicted of insurrection. How can you pull him off the ballot if he was never convicted? Your thoughts?
Well, the Secretary of State is worse than the Grinch. She's someone who's a partisan hack, frankly. There's no way around it. There's just no legal basis for this unilateral decision by the Maine Secretary of State. Our legal experts at Heritage, even before this happened, responding to the Colorado issue that you've covered, were already saying there's no legal basis for that based on what Section 3 of the 14th Amendment says. This is even more transparent. So this is the key, Cheryl. For anyone thinking still that there were somehow legal grounds for taking President Trump off the ballot, just review what this lady said yesterday. It shows you this has nothing to do with the law, has nothing to do with, quote unquote, an insurrection. It has everything to do with the regime trying to displace, to take off the ballot someone who has a very likely chance of winning a second term as president.
Yeah. Kara Frederick, someone you know very well, is on set with me here in New York. Kara, jump in.
Hi, boss. I'll see you in the office later. But for now, we had Hans von Spakowski, our legal fellow from Heritage that you referenced, coming out with lightning fast analysis, which basically says this decision disenfranchises the state of Maine's voters. That makes perfect sense. You know, how do we restore the sovereignty of the American people back? How do the people take the power back? What's next? How do we do it?
I think that analysis is exactly correct. And by the way, Kara, it's great to see you. I'll have to be on my best behavior if you're asking the questions. The point is that even if you, as our colleague Hans says, even if you are not voting for President Trump, even if you would never consider voting for President Trump, the problem with taking him off the ballot is disenfranchisement. Because if we can do that to a former president, who else can we do this to? It really is a sign for those of us who think that America's best days may still be ahead, but boy, we are inching toward decline, that we have to arrest this nonsense. We have to stop this nonsense by state officials in order to, frankly, make America great again.
You know, also, too, if you think about all of this and how the Supreme Court is going to be taking all of this up, I think, you know, time is of the essence. Is that going to be an issue at all, the calendar?
It's a huge issue because, as I was reviewing last night, Cheryl, a lot of states have already started printing ballots for the March 4th Super Tuesday primary. And so this, I mean, it sounds like this sort of esoteric academic detail, but this is a huge problem. I mean, I would be hopeful that the Supreme Court would take this up in a matter of days. And once again, has nothing to do with whom someone believes they're going to be voting for president. We have to be really clear that this is all about the regime trying to take power away from the American people, and therefore the Supreme Court is going to be our last backstop for common sense on this issue. They need to act quickly.
Yeah, well, obviously, someone from the Trump campaign, one of his representatives, saying that Democrats in blue states are recklessly and unconsciously suspending the civil rights of the American voters by attempting to summarily remove President Trump's name from the ballot. I mean, let the voters decide. You know, don't let politicians decide who cannot be voted for. Let people decide. That's democracy. I want to move on to the issue of China with you as well, because China's Ministry of State Security is now reportedly using AI to track American spies in Beijing. This comes from the New York Times. They're reporting the Chinese spy agency is using an AI program that creates, quote, instant dossiers on every person of interest in the area by feeding it information from databases and this is the most disconcerting, scores of cameras. The AI-generated profiles allow the Chinese spies to select targets and pinpoint their networks and their vulnerabilities. Kevin, this is very, very worrisome because the Times is reporting that several spies have already been caught in this, those that support democracy, but still, in the Chinese minds, spies nonetheless.
It's chilling, Cheryl. Of all the things that I'm worried about America, although to be clear, I still think that we ought to be hopeful about our future, at the top of my list, at the top of the list for the Heritage Foundation, isn't just how evil the regime of the Chinese Communist Party is, evidenced by using this new AI software for espionage, but because Americans are complicit in this. Good, honest Americans who are well-intentioned, as Kara has talked about, participating by having TikTok on their phones, allowing their kids and grandkids to do this. If you're disturbed by this story, and you ought to be, go to every cell phone and computer in your house right now and delete the app TikTok. Do it immediately. That's what Americans can do to stand up to this regime. To sum up here, Cheryl, we have never, in the history of the American Republic, had to confront an enemy. They're not an opponent. They're not an adversary. They're an enemy who is as strong as we are in every respect. And obviously, as evidenced by this AI usage and this software, they're beginning to lap us when it comes to technology.
Kevin Roberts, it's always great to have you on the program. Kara does a great job, by the way. We love her.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Just so you know.
She is awesome. Yeah, she is
It's on
awesome.
record.
Thank y'all so much. Happy New Year.